So although it's kind of my obligation to move the body through motion in all different directions, I feel particularly compelled to do like almost counter poses. In other words, if we sit huddled, then I want to do a lot of opening poses. Today, we're going to focus on the mid back, extension of the mid spine. And that's because, the spine has these alternating curves, neck, upper back, lower back, and the bottom, the sacrum, which is actually fused. And the movement in the spine is not evenly distributed. The neck has the largest range of motion, whether forward and back, turning to the side, leaning or twisting. Then the lower back, your lumbar spine has the next largest range of motion. And then there's the mid spine, the thoracic spine, which has much less range of motion. And we're going to pay attention particularly to that area today in order to maintain a flexible spine and get ourselves moving out of the maintained hunched over the computer posture that we unfortunately find ourselves in so much of the time. So let's take a few moments to sit. I brought this prop. It's more of a suggestion. I don't actually like to sit on a raised prop, but if it's not comfortable for you, if you can't find yourself a comfortable cross-legged position, then please consider raising your hips or sticking a prop underneath your thighs. A pair of running shoes is a great prop. It's got different heights. You can move it, anywhere between your knee and your hip. Sit comfortably. Give yourself the propping up you need. If when you sit on the ground, your knees are up considerably higher than your hips, then I would advise you to raise your hips when you want to sit for a few minutes. Okay, so we're going to just turn on the air conditioning for 1 second here. Okay. So we're going to sit for a few minutes and pay attention to the gentle movement of the spine as we inhale and exhale. Okay, as we inhale, there is an opening up between the vertebrae of the spine, and as we exhale, the vertebrae come to rest on each other with less space between them. Okay, so right now we're working the mid-back today, so we can pay attention to the spine, particularly in that region, which is easy to do because it's the region of the chest in the front. So as the lungs fill up, it makes sense that the spine opens up to create more movement for them. Okay, we're here after all to pay a few minutes of attention to what's going on in our bodies, and the easiest way to get there is following the breath. Okay. Today, special attention is going to be on the mid-spine, so follow the breath into the lungs and the movement in the spine with every inhalation and every exhalation. Now, of course, the movement isn't limited to one area of spine. Really, it's the entire spine that's opening up from the tailbone to the crown of the head and dropping down the weight from the crown of the head into the sitting bone area where the tailbone is. Don't have to change your breathing here. Just want to pay attention to the breathing, every single breath, and the movement that it causes in the spine. Sometimes we notice the movement in the chest or the belly. Today we're noticing the movement in the spine. It's almost like kind of a stacking game or it's kind of like a slinky where we inhale and pull apart the components and exhale, and it settles. each piece on the piece below. And with the next inhalation, we'll raise the arms overhead. Start out with your thumbs pointing down, then palms parallel to the ground, and then open the shoulders as we reach up. Now, the arms are connected to the rib cage, and the rib cage is connected to the spine. So this act of reaching up intensifies the elongation and the separation and the roominess and the decompression of the spine. Try and keep your shoulders down. Yes, we're energizing through the hands. The front of the shoulders are raised, but the shoulder blades are kind of continuing to just scoot down the rib cage in the back. From here, we're going to go into a gentle twist, okay? Gentle twist. We've got a long spine. We just want to twist to the right. Bring one hand behind us. Thumb is closest to the tailbone, okay? And that hand keeps our spine long. We can press the ground away with those fingertips. We don't want a flat palm there, it's the fingertips. We've said before, what we said is that we always twist from a decompressed spine. But today we're going to do everything from a decompressed spine. Come on back, slowly. Again, thumbs down, rotate the upper arms through the shoulder socket as you bring the hands up. Shoulders are connected to the rib cage, which is connected to the spine. And in fact, it's the connection of the ribs to the spine, which is part of the reason that there is a limited range of motion in that area, the area where the ribs connect, which is the mid-spine. Twist to the other side. Okay, gentle motion. It's not an aggressive twist, just a movement, soft movement. We breathe into the area that we've opened up, which is the back side of the chest here. Every inhalation, even though we're twisting, every inhalation creates some extra length and separation in the mid-spine. Come back to the center. Okay, take a moment, take a breath. Inhale, unstack those stackable vertebrae in their alternating curves. And exhale, let them settle, each one on the one below it. And inhale, raise one hand. Just reach straight up here. Okay, now we want to get a sideways lean. Same goes for a lean as goes for a twist. Okay, we want to lean from a decompressed spine as well, from a long spine. So inhale. Let's take the length starting from the mid-spinal area. Okay, let's inhale and increase the distance between the vertebrae of the mid-spine. And then from there, let the spine lengthen out in the area above the mid-spine and below the mid-spine. Okay, the upper back and the neck lengthens after the mid-spine. And lean to one side. Okay, root yourself down to the sitting bone you're moving away from. This is an opening here. Focus on the mid-spine, not just leaning, but lengthening and leaning. Yeah, so we're starting with an area that has the least movement of any area of our spine, and we're limiting the movement further if we work for extended periods of time in a crouched posture. Okay, so we're just slowly, you don't undo the risks of, accumulated millions of hours at the desk, at the computer, by one stretch. So to stretch aggressively can only be a mistake. Okay, so reach up, lengthen the spine. Think about lifting the vertebrae of your mid-back off of each other, and then leaning as you root down through the sitting bone that you're leaning away from. bit, relaxed, keep the breath easy. If there's any effort in your breath, something's not right. Okay, all the information that we need really is always in our breath, wincing and all that stuff. The information is available to us from our breath. Okay, come out of the side bend and take a simple, easy, wide-legged spread. Do not try to get your legs as wide as you can, okay? And we're going to come forward here, okay? First we're gonna really activate the legs, okay? Root down through the heels and your calves and your sitting bones. And then remember when we said a forward fold is always a hip hinge, okay? So by putting our legs apart like this, we're taking pressure off the lower spine. Now let's just take a moment to sit here and relax, okay? Relax for a second, inhale, lengthen the spine. Exhale, let the vertebrae restack themselves into their alternating curves. Again, inhale, lengthen the spine, and then let your chest lead you forward. Chest goes forward, it's a forward bend, the pelvis is tipping over the thighs. Easy, easy forward bend, don't overstretch your legs. And then we're going to let the head go, let the neck go and the shoulders go, and let the upper back go. Your tailbone is moving out behind you here. Easy forward bend. We can't do only back bends. You have to move the spine in its full range of motion. Again, breathe into the thoracic spine, into the mid-back, the area where the ribs join. It's easiest to breathe there really because that's where the lungs are. So it's easy to focus your attention on the movement in that area. And come back to sitting. Again, relax. Inhale, lengthen the spine, and then we'll do a back bend here. I don't have so much room behind me for the move up. Give yourself a little room. If you've been sitting on a pillow now or any kind of a raised surface, stay raised, okay? So we're going to bring our fingertips behind us. And again, we're going to relax. We're going to inhale, lengthen the spine. Exhale, root down through the sitting bones. And then we're going to bring an extension into that mid-spinal area, the area of the rib cage. Let that area go back first. Okay, and here you can think about using the tips at the bottom of your shoulder blades, like your shoulder blades are an inverted triangle. Those bottom tips can be used to lift the heart. Just view them almost as some kind of a scooping device to lift the heart. Don't go anywhere that causes strain or crimping. Pay attention to your breath. Should be ease here. And again, there's lots of movement in the neck. It's not going to help us in any way if you just throw the neck back. We don't need to do that. We need to control the range of motion, keep it in the mid-back right now, okay? And if we want, we can let the head go back in the end. That's up to us, but it's not the purpose of our back bend. Your hands are for length, okay? You're pressing the floor away with the fingertips. You're rooting down through the heels, the calves, the sitting bones, the fingertips. So there's lots of ease in the spine, and we're paying attention to the mid-back. And slowly come back up, restack those building blocks where they belong. And take a moment to sit in a comfortable position for you. And breathe along the length of your spine. So inhale from the crown of your head down to your sitting bone, and feel the building blocks, the vertebrae lifting on each other, and exhale and allow them to settle. And then on the next breath, you can narrow your attention to the area of the mid-back. Sit here for another 3 deep breaths. 3 extensions and releases of the vertebrae, lengthening and releasing of the spine, especially the mid-back. And we will remove the prop, okay, and come into all fours. Okay. So this is a terrific way to prepare your shoulders and back for basically all poses, all right? And this is this range of motion, the cat-cow range of motion, is always based on the breath, so that as we, well, let's start by placing the hands here. The hands are always going to be important when they're on the ground. They're basically the new feet, okay? You're not really on all fours here. You're mostly on your hands, okay? When the hands are down. So let's separate the fingers. Middle fingers are parallel to each other and the sides of your mat. The thumbs are facing each other, and press the ground away as you exhale. And the crown of your head and your pelvis come towards each other. And then you soften the shoulders, soften the elbows. As you inhale, your tailbone and the crown of your head come together. Okay, are aiming towards each other, really, they're both heading up towards the ceiling. At the pace of your own breath, again, keep your attention on the mid-back. Okay, so that we don't want to dump the bend into the lower spine here. You're very aware of the mid-spine. This is a thoracic spinal movement. The movement is where the breath is going anyway, in the lungs. Again, you can use that idea to kind of scoop. Use the lower tips of the scapula of your shoulder blades to scoop the heart forward, and then press the floor away as if your mid-back flexes. One more time. And then take a moment in child's pose, okay? Send your sitting bones back to your heels. Let the forehead go. Now, if your forehead doesn't touch the mat here, I don't have any other props handy, so I'm just going to bring this back. If your forehead doesn't touch the mat, by all means, bring anything you need. If you don't feel like getting up to get a prop, stack your fists one on top of each other. I'll actually do that. Okay, we want the forehead to be supported here as the sitting bones come back to the heels, so that the neck can relax, the lower spine can relax. And again here, our front body is closed off to us when we're in this kind of a crouch position or any forward fold. So we have to breathe into the back body. So let's send our attention to the area of the mid-spine and feel that area lengthening. Even if we're using our fists to stack to support the forehead, we don't want to have an extension in the neck. The whole spine follows the same line from the tailbone right up to the crown of the head. Okay, so don't use more support than you need. If you don't need support here, don't use support here. Tip of the tailbone through the lower back, mid-spine, neck, and head. It's one continuous curve. Okay, and we're going to come from here into a down dog. Curl your toes under, place your hands, and press through the hands to push your hips up the back wall. Okay, you want length in the full spine. Our attention today is on the mid-spine. Don't worry about your heels. We do not need them to come to the ground at all. We want to engage the earth with our hands to lengthen out that spine. Keep the attention on the mid-spine. Fill it out with your breath. And we can alternate pedaling it out here so that the right foot comes down as we press the ground away with the left hand, and the left foot comes down as we press the ground away with the right hand. Continue breathing into your mid-spine with every exhalation. Fill that area out. There's no sagging here, not in the lower spine, not in the shoulders, and not in the mid-spine. And next time your right foot and right hand are supporting you, come up on your right toes and bring that left foot forward. Bring your left foot forward. Now to protect the knee here, to protect that front knee, it's pretty, the standard way that we do that is don't bring your knee ahead of your ankle, okay? So if your knee's ahead of your ankle, move yourself back a little. And then lower gently, gently, gently. You may need some extra padding here. If you do, the easiest way to get it actually is just to take your mat and give it a fold. Okay, that's if you have a mat. If you don't have a mat, a blanket or a towel or a washcloth will do just fine. I just demonstrated with my mat. Okay, so the back knee is down and the top of the back foot is down as well. And what we want to do here is get an opening, a mid-back bend in our spine. We don't want to dump into the lower spine here. We want to breathe, lengthen the mid-spine, and then again, use those tips of that inverted triangle, that is your shoulder blade on both sides. Use those bottom tips of the shoulder blade to gently, gently press your heart forward. Now, being very careful not to trip or break your toe. You're going to come into a standing position. You're going to bring your back foot forward and come into a forward fold. Okay, you might want to do it in stages. And let the belly connect with the thighs here. That's how we protect the lower spine. Keep the knees soft. We don't want to overstretch the hamstrings or the lower spine here. Easy forward fold. Here we use the weight of the head to put some traction on the lower spine, also the mid spine. We're using the weight of the head here to separate and ease up the nerves that run through the vertebrae of the spine. Okay? So you can breathe. If you want to intensify the stretch, you can grab opposite elbow with opposite hand and actually pull your spine a little bit more open. Keep your knees soft here. We want to protect the lower spine and the hamstring. Okay, and we're going to come up through a chair pose. So bring your shins forward here and then transfer more weight back to your heels as you drop your sitting bones, okay? Now, this is not a chair pose like this. We don't want extension in the lower spine. We want your imaginary tail or the continuation of your tailbone to basically come between your heels and not point out behind. Okay, again, we're opening the shoulders here. We're paying attention to the mid-spine. When we raise our shoulders, it automatically lifts the vertebrae of the mid-spine off each other because of the connection through the ribs. And come into a standing mountain pose. We're focusing today on the area of the thoracic spine, the middle back, the part of your spine that has the least amount of movements when compared to the neck or the lower spine in any plane, whether it's lengthening and contracting, leaning, twisting, or bending and extension. That's where we're focused. So we're going to do a bridge. Now, we often do a bridge, we're changing the focus today to continue what we've been doing, which is relaxing, lengthening, and lifting the mid-spine. Okay, so bring your feet no more than hip width apart. When you get up into the bridge, you don't want your knees to be forward at your ankles. So even if you start that way, they're going to move back. But you don't want your feet in as close as you can possibly get them because you want your knees to be easy when we come up. Okay, so let's just do a few gentle movements of the pelvis to prepare ourselves. We'll just lift the tailbone off the mat with the exhalation and release the tailbone. We want to make sure the lower spine is easy here. Okay, this is where the movement of lifting us up is going to start. Focus on the breath. Inhale as the tailbone releases to the mat. Feel the length in your whole spine. And exhale as the tailbone curls up. And press the mat away with your feet. And your knees can come forward as long as you then let them fall back. The weight here is going to fall from your knees to your shoulders. Okay, now we want our lower spine to be easy here. If we want to press ourselves up higher, it's not going to be from the lower spine. It's going to be from the feet and the hamstrings and the shoulder blades. Okay, so we do want to engage the area between the shoulder blades here to stabilize us. And then take a moment to inhale, lengthen the spine, and use, well, now they're on top, but it's the point of the triangle of your shoulder blades to push your chest a little bit more towards the wall behind you. There's no work in the lower spine or the lower spine. It has to be easy. And squeeze out your back as you come down. Squeeze out the fleshy part of your back all the way from the shoulders down to the hip area. Okay, we take advantage of that contact with the floor to rehydrate the back of the body here. And we'll do an extension. A spinal extension. I don't know if we've done it before. It's preparation for a fish pose. Okay, so you're going to bring one shoulder underneath you. Take that same palm to the mat, and you're going to lie on that whole arm. Okay, we'll go to the other side. Bring the other palm to the mat beneath you, and you're lying on top of your arms. Your thumbs are touching each other. Okay. And you're going to, your legs are straight here, okay? You're going to press your elbows into the mat, and again, scoop your chest forward to get a lift in your chest. But first, I'm just going to take a moment to relax the spine, okay? So again, inhale, feel the length in the spine, and exhale. Here we're allowing the vertebrae to release to your arms and the mat below them. They're not releasing. You're in a different relationship to gravity here. So yes, we still have a lengthening and a releasing of the spine, but we're no longer vertical. Okay, so relax, lengthen the spine, and exhale. Allow the vertebrae to settle down towards the ground. With the next inhalation, you're going to come up on your elbows. You're going to use the triangular tips of your scapulae to push the mid-spine forward. And a lengthening and an extension here starts from the mid-spine and goes from there to the lower back of the head. It doesn't matter whether your head is in the air or on the ground here. It's the opening of the chest and the mid-back. Use your calves and your ankles and your elbows and your forearms and your hands to root you down here so you can get some nice, easy lift in the mid-spine. You don't want to feel too much pressure here in the neck and in front of the throat. So take it easy. Okay, you may want to go into a bit of a fish-like underbite here. Protects the neck. And breathe. Information is in your breath. That tells you how much effort you're using. Okay, and slowly, slowly unroll, unroll, unroll. And roll off your hands. And bring both knees into your chest. Okay, and roll from side to side here. Contact is on the back body. You can keep the attention on the mid-spine if you want. Maybe curl your pelvis up a little bit more to give your mid-spinal area a massage from the floor, not just the lower back. This is for you, okay? This is for you to give yourself the release that you need. So focus on the area. We work the mid-back, so it would be nice to focus on the mid-spine here. You might have to go into a bit of a deeper tuck in order to do that. And shake it out, letting everything fall from the front body to the back body. And come down into a final relaxation pose. So take a deep breath here. With the inhalation, there's a lengthening of the spine. And with the exhalation, it's a release of the vertebrae and the connective tissue to the ground. It's no longer every vertebra releasing to the vertebra below it. So it's separation and the lengthening. Perhaps a gentle extension in your mid-spine as the rib cage expands. And then allow the vertebrae to come closer together. Just imagine a gentle clacking sound. You know, I'm thinking of these blinds that are behind me. They're an electric blind, and as I open them, space opens between each slat, and as I lower them, there's like this sound of the slats falling on top of each other. Visualize that in your spine if it's helpful for you. Tension on the breath and the area of the mid-spine. Breathe in through your nose and out through the nose. It's the breathing of safety, of the rest and digest. It's a breathing that sends a message to your brain that it's okay to reset your body's hormonal system into an anti-stress, into a relaxation response. And slowly bend one knee and then the other and roll to one side. And allow yourself to settle down and imagine what's happening to your spine as well. Okay, it's kind of being drawn down by gravity here. And use your hand and your arms to push yourself up into a comfortable seating position. Since we sit so much, it's a nice idea to bring our attention back to our seated spine before we move on with the rest of our day. Okay, so we have spoken about a neglected, but I don't know, much abused area of the body today, the mid-spine. Okay, it has a limited range of motion to begin with, and sitting in a hunched pose, particularly over a computer, limits that range even more. So it's very nice to pay attention to that area. The bonus is that it's the area of the rib cage, so it's natural. It goes along with paying attention to the breath. So we will inhale. Be aware of the lengthening of the vertebrae of the spine. And exhale. Allow every building block to drop its weight efficiently onto the building block below it so that no area of the spine is overstressed. That is the beauty of these alternating curves of our spine. Inhale, feel the movement in the mid-spine. Exhale, root back down to the sitting bones. Inhale, draw energy up evenly along the whole spine, making sure every area gets what it needs. And either stay here as long as you like, or transition with a renewed attention to this area of your spine. Transition into the rest of your working day.